has given the most remarkable, devoted service to the Queen, to my family, and to the country, and also to the whole of the Commonwealth.
Britain had endured royal departures, family betrayals, and constitutional storms before Babu, but nothing prepared 0:22:22 seconds the country for the words delivered from Buckingham Palace. Music. King Charles had made his decision. Archie and Lilibet, 0:29:29 seconds the grandchildren living thousands of miles from the institution into which they were born. Music would be removed from the line of succession. It was not 0:38:38 seconds a warning, a negotiation, or a temporary measure. It was a final act carrying music consequences across 2 continents. Before we go deeper into what this really means for the royal family, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single update. Charles Saturday 0:45:45 seconds behind his desk, music, and read the final wording twice. The announcement would end Archie and Lilibet's constitutional place within the crown. 1:021 minute, 2 seconds, music, the line of succession, the legal order deciding who may inherit the throne, was more than a ceremonial list. It carried royal identity and national continuity. Removing 2 children meant breaking a bond established at birth. 1:11:1 minute, 11 seconds, and the king knew Britain would not see this as paperwork alone. The monarch kept one hand on the document while an aide waited. Charles knew the words would 1:28:1 minute, 28 seconds wound his son. Yet he believed succession could not survive as an empty inheritance. After reading the phrase music future service to the crown 1:37:1 minute, 37 seconds again, he raised his eyes and said, "Release it." The wording referred to responsibility and exposed his argument. 1:45:1 minute, 45 seconds constitutional privilege had to carry service. Harry received the message at home and assumed there had been a mistake. He read Archie's name, then 1:54:1 minute, 54 seconds Lilibet's, and his face changed. Meghan asked what had happened, but he lowered the phone. She repeated the music, 2:012 minutes, 1 second question, and watched his shock harden into anger as he told her both children had been removed. This was not reform. 2:092 minutes, 9 seconds, it was a judgment placed upon 2 young lives. William faced the same words inside a palace music room. The future 2:16:2 minutes, 16 seconds, King accepted an advanced copy, paused at Lilibet's name, then folded the paper. He asked whether Harry had been informed. An aide confirmed that a message had been sent, but the prince heard something colder beneath the 2:22:2 minutes, 22 seconds answer. A constitutional review, an official examination of royal rules and consequences. Music had brought 2:37:2 minutes, 37 seconds advisors and officials behind closed doors. The decision had been prepared long before the public heard it. Now attention shifted from palace, music, 2:45:2 minutes, 45 seconds machinery to the people carrying its cost across the nation. A grandfather who had chosen duty, and a strange son staring at betrayal, a mother fighting anger, and 2 children too young to understand what had disappeared from their future. But behind the 3:013 minutes, 1 second constitutional language were 4 lives bound by blood, distance, music, resentment, and a family wound that had 3:093 minutes, 9 seconds never truly closed. To the public, Archie and Lily were names, printed music, beneath princes and princesses, 3:16:3 minutes, 16 seconds in the order of succession. To Harry, they were his children. To Meghan, they represented a future she had fought to 3:24:3 minutes, 24 seconds protect. And to Charles, they were grandchildren he barely knew, living reminders of a son who had walked away. The announcement was constitutional in form, but its true force landed inside a fractured family, where every title 3:39:3 minutes, 39 seconds concealed a private ache. Harry entered the children's room carrying a silence heavier than anger. Archie sat absorbed 3:46:3 minutes, 46 seconds in a book, while Lilibet played nearby, unaware that strangers across Britain were already debating their future. The Duke watched them for several moments without music speaking. His eldest son had been born while he and Meghan were still working members of the monarchy. For 0:14 minutes, 1 second meaning they represented the crown through official duties and public service. From birth, Archie had carried expectations linked to the House of Windsor, the royal family's historic dynasty. Now, those expectations had been removed without him understanding 4 minutes, 10 seconds they had ever existed. Lily's place carried a different kind of pain. She had been born after the Sussex 4 minutes, 23 seconds departure, far from palace life. Yet her name connected her directly to Queen Elizabeth II, whose private childhood 4 minutes, 31 seconds nickname had carried deep meaning within the family. Meghan understood that connection. She also understood how quickly royal affection could be for 4 minutes, 39 seconds separated from royal authority. Meghan asked whether Charles had called before the statement was issued. Harry shook 4 minutes, 46 seconds his head, and admitted that only a formal message had arrived. Her sadness hardened immediately. She said the king had discussed Archie and Lilibet like entries on a constitutional list music, rather than grandchildren with feelings. 5:15 minutes, 1 second identities and futures. He did not defend his father. He looked back toward the children and said the worst part was 5:85 minutes, 8 seconds knowing they would one day discover exactly how the decision had been announced. Charles had wrestled with that same fear. The monarch had 5:16 minutes, 16 seconds repeatedly questioned whether keeping the children in the succession music would preserve family unity or create deeper confusion around two young people being raised entirely outside royal service. The order of succession was not simply a ranking of relatives. It was 5:25 minutes, 25 seconds the official sequence, determining who could inherit the throne. To him, allowing that position to remain without any connection to duty risked music. 5:41 minutes, 41 seconds turning responsibility into symbolism alone. William's part remained hidden. He had known the review was underway, but 5:49 minutes, 49 seconds no palace account revealed whether he encouraged the removal or simply accepted his father's authority. Music. Catherine found him standing alone at 5:57 minutes, 57 seconds Windsor with the statement still in his hand. She asked what troubled him most. 6:26 minutes, 2 seconds the future king answered quietly that Archie and Lilibet would eventually read every word. That fear pointed toward an earlier moment, one the family had kept buried. A private ceremony where two absent children became impossible to 6:17 minutes, 17 seconds ignore. The final announcement had begun with signatures and legal language, but the true point of no return came during 6:25 minutes, 25 seconds, one deeply uncomfortable family ceremony. Months before Britain heard the announcement, a private ceremony inside Windsor Castle exposed the contradiction at the heart of Archie and Lily's royal future. Their names remained in the succession, yet their 6:46 minutes, 40 seconds lives were unfolding far beyond the crown's reach. What began as a carefully managed family occasion became the 6:47 minutes, 47 seconds moment. Charles could no longer avoid the question. Could children inherit a constitutional position without inheriting any relationship with the country, duty, or institution behind it? 6:59 minutes, 59 seconds. Charles had spent months examining what succession should mean in a modern monarchy. He understood the difference between being born into royal history 7:07 minutes, 8 seconds, and being prepared to serve if extraordinary circumstances ever pushed that history into reality. The succession. Music. The legal order 7:16 minutes, 16 seconds determining who may inherit the throne, carried duties as well as status. Palace advisors warned him that Archie and Lilibet's positions would become harder to 7:25 minutes, 25 seconds defend as they grew up abroad without royal education, public responsibilities, or direct ties to British national life. The silence came 7:34 minutes, 34 seconds during a private family ceremony, marking the anniversary of Queen Elizabeth II's accession. The date she formally became 7:41 minutes, 41 seconds sovereign. A formal family roll was read aloud, naming relatives connected to the crown and its future. Archie's name came 7:49 minutes, 49 seconds first. Lilibet's followed. Both children were absent. Music. Yet 2 places had been reserved to acknowledge them. 7:56 7 minutes, 56 seconds symbolically. No one spoke when their names echoed through the room. The king looked toward those empty places. Music. And the contradiction became painfully 8:058 minutes, 5 seconds real. Charles approached a senior advisor after the gathering had ended. 8:098 minutes, 9 seconds music. He asked whether the monarchy was preserving a genuine family bond or merely maintaining an illusion on paper. 8:16 8 minutes, 16 seconds. The advisor did not answer immediately, and that hesitation disturbed him more than any direct warning could have done. 8:23 8 minutes, 23 seconds. William found his father before leaving Windsor. The future king chose his words carefully, saying the succession could 8:38 minutes, 30 seconds, not remain separated from responsibility forever. He did not demand that the children be removed. He did not mention 8:37 8 minutes, 37 seconds. Harry with anger. Yet the prince's warning forced the monarch to consider what delay might create. Future 8:44 8 minutes, 44 seconds. Uncertainty, deeper conflict, and 2 young people carrying constitutional expectations. They had never been. 8:51 8 minutes, 51 seconds. Prepared to meet. Harry later learned through a documented private briefing that his children's absence had been discussed after the ceremony. Fury 8:59 8 minutes, 59 seconds overtook him. He music told Meghan that Archie and Lily were being judged for a distance they had not chosen, while she answered that the family was turning 9:089 minutes, 8 seconds. Adult failures into a burden for children. The next morning, Charles commissioned a sealed constitutional memorandum, an official confidential 9:17 9 minutes, 17 seconds paper examining royal authority and its consequences. Its music central question was brutal. 9:24 9 minutes, 24 seconds. Should succession remain automatic when any realistic path towards service had disappeared? When Harry discovered that the review began immediately after 9:32 9 minutes, 32 seconds. Windsor, he demanded to face his father without advisors standing between them. 9:37 9 minutes, 37 seconds. The empty places at Windsor had started the review. Music, but it would take a confrontation between father and son to transform private doubt into a 9:46 9 minutes, 46 seconds. Irreversible decision. There were no cameras, no public statements, and no advisor seated between them when Harry 9:53 9 minutes, 53 seconds finally faced Charles. Only a father, a son, and a polished table carrying years of unspoken anger. Harry had come to 10:02 10 minutes, 2 seconds. Defend Archie and Lily's future. Music. Charles had come prepared to defend the crown. Yet beneath every constitutional 10:09 10 minutes, 9 seconds argument was a more painful accusation that each man believed the other had placed personal choices above the family they once claimed to protect. Harry had returned to Britain after learning that the succession review was no longer in 10:17 10 minutes, 17 seconds. Informal palace discussion. He demanded a private meeting and rejected the suggestion that secretaries should 10:24 10 minutes, 24 seconds attend. The review, the official process examining whether Archie and Lilibet should retain their places in the order 10:30 10 minutes, 30 seconds of inheritance, had already moved toward a final recommendation. He understood that once the language became law, 10:37 10 minutes, 37 seconds. Outrage alone would not undo it. Charles entered carrying the sealed constitutional memorandum. The king wanted his son to hear the reasoning 10:54 10 minutes, 54 seconds directly. Yet the document in his hand showed how narrow the path had become. 10:59 10 minutes, 59 seconds. Harry asked how removing 2 children could possibly strengthen a family. 11:03 11 minutes, 3 seconds. Music. His father answered that the monarchy could not promise constitutional roles to people being raised with no expectation of serving. 11:10 11 minutes, 10 seconds. Britain, or understanding the duties attached to the crown. Harry's restraint collapsed. He said Archie and Lily were 11:18 11 minutes, 18 seconds being punished because he had left royal life even though neither child had chosen the distance between California and Britain. Charles looked directly at 11:27 11 minutes, 27 seconds him, and insisted that their worth had never been questioned. The decision, he said, Concerned the future his son had 11 minutes, 34 seconds chosen for them. A life outside the institution, while still demanding permanent constitutional music privilege within it. Harry pushed his 11 minutes, 42 seconds chair backward and stood. He demanded that Charles speak as a grandfather instead of hiding behind the authority of a sovereign. The monarch removed his 11 minutes, 51 seconds glasses slowly music, and placed them beside the memorandum. He admitted that being their grandfather was exactly why he had delayed the decision for so long. 12 o'clock 12 minutes every month of hesitation had been an attempt to find a path that preserved both duty and family. Charles then 12:07 12 minutes, 7 seconds offered one final possibility. Archie and Lilibet could maintain a defined connection to Britain through regular family contact. Time with their 12:16 12 minutes, 16 seconds grandfather, and a future understanding of royal responsibility. Harry heard control rather than compromise. He 12:23 12 minutes, 23 seconds accused the palace of trying to reach his children through constitutional pressure, while music, the king warned that connection could not exist. Only 12:32 12 minutes, 32 seconds when titles were at risk. The meeting ended without agreement. Harry reached the door, believing the decision could still be challenged. Charles stopped him 12:40 12 minutes, 40 seconds with one final sentence, refusing every connection while demanding every constitutional privilege. Music could 12:47 12 minutes, 47 seconds not continue indefinitely. Their private conversation ended with neither man yielding. And beyond that closed door, 12:55 12 minutes, 55 seconds the machinery capable of changing the succession was already moving. Royal power rarely announces itself with raised voices. Music, it moves through 13:03 13 minutes, 3-second sealed folders, carefully arranged meetings, and sentences refined until emotion disappears from the page. While 13:12 13 minutes, 12 seconds Harry fought the decision as a father. Charles was being asked to act as sovereign. Around him stood advisors, 13:19 13 minutes, 19 seconds lawmakers, and the future king, all aware that removing two names from the succession could not be treated as a 13:26 13 minutes, 26 seconds private family punishment. It had to be presented as institutional necessity. 13:31 13 minutes, 31 seconds Charles's personal declaration formed the heart of the announcement, but his signature alone could not complete the change. Constitutional advisors began 13:40 13 minutes, 40 seconds preparing the legal and parliamentary pathway, the formal process through which royal rules are examined, approved, music, and recognized by the 13:49 13 minutes, 49 seconds state. The palace framed the decision as part of a wider principle. Succession rights should remain connected to 13:56 13 minutes, 56 seconds Britain, public duty, and a genuine willingness to serve the crown. Without that link, advisors warned, inheritance 14:04 14 minutes, 4 seconds could become privilege, without responsibility. William entered the late briefing carrying the silence of someone who already understood the cost. Charles 14:13 14 minutes, 13 seconds asked whether history would remember the decision as cruelty. The prince did not answer quickly. He said history would judge whether they protected the 14:21 14 minutes, 21 seconds monarchy, without forgetting that two children stood beneath every line of constitutional language. His words offered no comfort. Yet the king needed 14:29 14 minutes, 29 seconds their honesty. Charles admitted that Archie and Lilibet might grow up believing their grandfather had rejected them. Charles admitted that Archie and Lilibet might grow up believing their grandfather had rejected them. 14:36 14 minutes, 36 seconds music. His voice faltered before he studied it. The monarch then signed the authorization permitting the announcement to move forward. For 1:14:44 14 minutes, 44 seconds brief moment, the pen remained motionless against the paper, as though he still hoped hesitation could create another choice. Music, William reread 14:53 14 minutes, 53 seconds the final memorandum. As heir, the person expected to inherit the throne after the current sovereign, he carried 1,500 hours, 15 minutes, a duty to protect the institution's future. Yet Harry remained the younger brother he had once defended, guided, 15:07 15 minutes, 7 seconds music, and trusted. The future king knew his silence would be treated as approval, even music, if no public sentence ever carried his name. The 15:16 15 minutes, 16 seconds final document contained one crucial limit. Archie and Lilibet would retain their family identity and personal titles, for music the present, but they 15:24 15 minutes, 24 seconds would lose any constitutional expectation of inheriting the throne. 15:29 15 minutes, 29 seconds Charles had also rejected a harsher proposal that would have removed every remaining royal association. Music, he wanted a boundary between family, and 15:37 15 minutes, 37 seconds crown, not the total erasure of 2 grandchildren. That distinction looked careful inside the palace. Outside it, the meaning would change within minutes. 15:48 15 minutes, 48 seconds once the declaration became public. Legal precision collapsed beneath human anger. Harry Music would see punishment. Meghan would see rejection. 15:57 15 minutes, 57 seconds, and before the palace could explain the difference, the consequences were already reaching California. Charles believed he had drawn a careful line, 16:05 16 minutes, 5 seconds between family and crown. But when the decision crossed the Atlantic, that line vanished beneath an immediate wave of fury and grief. The announcement required only minutes to travel from Buckingham Palace to California, but its emotional impact was instantaneous. 16:22 16 minutes, 22 seconds phones began ringing. Messages arrived from friends, lawyers, journalists, and relatives. Yet inside Harry and Meghan's 16:30 16 minutes, 30 seconds home, the loudest moment was the silence that followed. 2 names had been removed from a centuries-old order, and 16:37 16 minutes, 37 seconds suddenly, every sacrifice the couple had defended was being weighed against what their children had lost without ever being asked. Meghan refreshed the palace website and watched the official page change. Music Archie and Lilibet's name 16:52 16 minutes, 52 seconds had disappeared from the succession list. The public record, showing the legal order in which members of the royal family could inherit the throne. 1700 hours 17 minutes, that empty space, was the first visible proof that the declaration was no longer just words. Music, she stared at it, 17:07 17 minutes, 7 seconds closed the laptop firmly, and told Harry that the family had turned blood into something conditional. Harry's advisors 17:14 17 minutes, 14 seconds called within minutes. They warned him that attacking the decision publicly could deepen the feud and make reconciliation almost impossible. 17:23 17 minutes, 23 seconds silence carried its own danger. If he said nothing, the palace explanation could define the children's future, and 17:30 17 minutes, 30 seconds leave the world believing their removal had been accepted without protest. 17:33 17 minutes, 33 seconds, music, 17:34 17 minutes, 34 seconds the Duke listened, but every option sounded like surrender. Harry blamed himself. He said his departure had 17:41 17 minutes, 41 seconds handed the monarchy the argument it needed, and Archie and Lilibet were now paying for choices they had never made. Meghan rejected that immediately. She reminded him that they had left to protect the children from pressure, exposure, music, and a life controlled 17:57 17 minutes, 57 seconds by royal expectation. Protection should not have cost them recognition inside their own family, she insisted, and the 18:05 18 minutes, 5 seconds king should have understood that difference.